There is a space in my heart where I find the truth. I find me in you, a truth beyond what you may see now. But when we are one, we bring more good about. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, yeah. There is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. I see with new eyes, allow and unfold, embrace and let go, trust the flow. There's a freedom in love when you follow your heart. Together we are stronger than we could ever be apart. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, yeah. There is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. Breathe in and out, slowly feel all that's around you, all that you feel, all that you know. Let it go. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite, yeah, when we unite, oh, we unite, yeah, yeah, when we unite, yeah, yeah. You are welcome here. Love is welcome here. Peace is welcome here. You are welcome here. I must let you know that we matter. Tell these people all that we matter. Gotta face the truth somehow. We matter. Change what we do right now. We matter. It's a history of pain. Whoa. Separation, it's insane. Have you fallen through the lights? Black, white, whatever, never a reason to despise. We're all part of the human race, one humanity. A truth we must face. If we don't learn to love each other, then one another. Time to move on to a new way of being. The only solution is a new way of seeing, yeah. I must let you know that we matter. Tell these people all that we matter. Gotta face the truth somehow. We matter. Change what we do right now. We matter. See you with the eyes of love. See you with your heart. Let go of separation. We can all make a new start. If we all come together, if we make love a norm, no matter what the border, no matter where you're from, then how can we let our fellow men suffer in poverty? How can we let our brothers and sisters die from greed? How can we let our mothers and fathers go uncared for? And how can we let our children live in the world of war? No, no, no. I must let you know that we matter. Tell these people all that we matter. Gotta face the truth somehow. We matter. Change what we do right now. We matter. Time to move on to a new way of being. One race, one world, one humanity. Let's learn to love ourselves, our creator and every being. 'Cause we all matter in this one love for you and me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I must let you know that we matter. Tell these people all that we matter. Gotta face the truth somehow. We matter. Change what we do right now. We matter. Peace starts when you. We matter. Hatred will never.
Yes, we do matter, and we are here. And I know that was abrupt, but it's just what it is. What can I say? We matter, and you matter. That was John Stringer. You had 2 doses, maybe 1.5 dose of John Stringer. We matter, and you are welcome here. Thank you for being here. You can find out more about John Stringer by going to his website address, which is johnstringerinc.com. That's what it is. I knew that. Let me move my mic. Well, I guess it doesn't matter. My mic is poking in the corner. Life is good and it's getting better. Even if it doesn't go according to your plan, you got to trust the process. It's good for your mental health. If you don't trust the process, you just don't trust the process. It's not going to change much. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, and good day to you wherever you are at this very moment in time. Thank you for taking the time to tune in, to listen, and as you listen, you are transformed. I am Ade, your transformational beingness. See, I keep jacking that up. I've been doing this for a long time. I should be able to master it by now. Transformational beingness artist. See, I'm here to support you in being who you are, completely, fully self-expressed. And you got to let all of it hang out. If you're trying to be perfect, I don't think I have a lot of time for you because that's my department. I don't need you to be perfect. Perfectionism, that's me. Anybody else, you're competing with me. I can't have that. Welcome to another episode of Being You, the journey back to yourself. Season 2, episode 11. Today's Tuesday, July 14th, 2020. And I am so excited and grateful because I have my dear friend, my mentor, um, also my midwife. You know, I refer to Rev D as my friend, mentor, and midwife. Now, Reverend Mary, I'm going to introduce you to her in a minute. She's also a friend, a mentor, and midwife. And Rev D, Reverend Mary, when it comes to my spiritual journey, have played a very influential part. And I can say who I am right now is because of them. And we all have those people that we lean on, that we stand on their shoulders. And just I'm grateful. And you hopefully, trustfully, you can find that sense of gratitude for people in your life who support you. Because as you navigate this thing called life, it's not always easy. So this podcast is about, helping you see yourself, helping you see yourself in the world, and also helping you see yourself. Really look at, let me adjust this, look at how you see yourself in the world and how you see the world in you, because it's really all about you, So thank you for everyone that's listening, that's watching on Facebook, YouTube, and those of you that are listening to the audio, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, and all the other platform. Today's topic, today's theme is finding stillness in challenging times. And I'm just going to go ahead. Well, before I do that, let me see who's in the chat room, because I'm excited to have Reverend Mary here. And there's so much I would say. I'll wait till she gets here. Let me see who's in here. There's India, my wonderful co-producer. Thank you very much for holding it down while I went for a walk. My computer was saying, I need to take a nap. Thank you for babysitting both of us. My sister Shoyinka, thank you very much. You said... I love you too, my dear sister. Cynthia, nice to see you. Kathy is in the house. Kathy Scott, good to see you. She said, good to be here with my brother Ade and my spiritual teacher, Reverend Mary Louise Ruffner. That's right. Keisha is in the house. How are you doing, my dear sister? Nice to see you. Liliana is here as well. Nice to see you. And they're sending shout outs to India. Let me just check YouTube, make sure everything is fine over there. We're good. Now, I just want to read a little something about Reverend Mary. And what I'm going to read will give you an idea of her journey, but you're really going to feel her when you hear her. She was, let me read the bio and I'll tell you what I'm about to say, but I won't say it right now. I'll say it after I read the bio. Okay? Got it? Reverend Mary Louise Ruffner is an ordained minister and the co-founder, director of Still Point Spiritual Center, a Georgia-based teaching chapter affiliated with the international organization Centers for Spiritual Living. Through this ministry, she teaches the life-enhancing principles of the science of mind. A native of Cleveland, Ohio, Reverend Ruffner spent 21 years in California, where her spiritual career included serving as senior minister of 2 congregations in Santa Cruz, California, and Riverside, California. Faculty member of the Holmes Institute, Los Angeles, and Huntington Beach campuses, assistant director of the World Ministry of Prayer, and coordinator for the UCRS Home Study course. She retired. That's what the bio said, but the bio doesn't know nothing. Retired? Psh, please. Okay, but I'm going to read what the bio said. The bio said she retired from full-time ministry. Okay, well, yeah, okay, we go with that. In 2005, and moved to the Atlanta, Georgia area. Reverend Mary describes herself as a student and teacher of new thought and ancient wisdom. To find out more about her website address is stillpointcsl.org. Still, like stillness, point, stillpointcsl.org. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, psychics and skeptics, physical beings and non-physical beings, help me welcome my mentor, my friend, my midwife, myself, Reverend Mary. How are you doing?
I'm doing so good. You've made me smile already so many times. You've made me laugh. I just love being in your joy. And it's such a pleasure to be here and just to bask in John Stringer's wonderful music and words as I prepared myself to be with you today. Ade was just a real treat. So thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for the yes. I am so excited. Now, I got some questions. I got things that I want to talk to you about. I want to go deep and I want to just fly on the surface because we can do that. We can fly high in the bliss clouds, like, ooh, and then we can go deep. But before we start, I would like to kind of set a foundation, set the tone for this conversation. And one of the things I know about you is it's not ability. Let me say, I love how you pray. Your prayer penetrates my heart, my mind, and it just has a way of centering me every time I hear you pray. So would you mind just setting the tone for us with affirmative prayer?
Oh, Ade, it would be such a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to pray, to unite with the presence and the power that's undergirding absolutely everything all the time. So I invite you and the guests that are tuned in to turn inward with me for just a moment or two as we recognize and acknowledge this all-pervading presence, this life principle that's moving in and through and as absolutely everything right now in this moment. Oh, it's called by so many names, so many names. This pure spirit is called Allah, Yahweh, Elohim, Jesus. But we're speaking about one presence, commonly called God. So I know it's here, I know it's now, in this very moment. This is a holy moment that we experience in our individual homes, and yet there's a common unity, the common unity that Stringer's sung revealed this morning, a common unity of love and peace and harmony and joy. So I declare, as we unify in this kind of consciousness this day, something magnificent happens. There's a glimpse of something that's never been seen before. An idea rises to the level of consciousness right here, right now. We surrender into this moment, into this time, into this podcast, knowing that, yes, the word of truth is being broadcast, and everyone who's open and receptive with an open heart and an open mind receives exactly that which is needed here today. So I bless the process. I surrender into it. I trust the process. I deliberately and consciously allow this God presence to be fully present in consciousness as I affirm, and so it is. Amen.
Amen. I share. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Reverend Mary.
Hmm.
I appreciate you. So, being you, the podcast, it's really an invitation for people to show up as themselves, with themselves. And one of the sweetest sounds that we could ever hear is the sound of our names, right? And that name has been with us all our lives. So there's a sort of familiarity to it. I finally got it out. and I find that, sometimes we have a name, we have our names, we don't pay a lot of attention to it. But one of the things I do with my guests is to ask them the meaning of their names, what it means to them, what it means, and maybe some stories behind it. So, would you do us the wonderful pleasure of telling us about the meaning of your name or what it means to you?
Oh, wow. Thank you for asking that. That's something I certainly wasn't expecting. So let me just be with that for a moment, because my name, Mary, is a name that's used in every culture, you know? So very often I'll be called Maria, simply Marie, and all the variations. I've heard so many, and they're all just so lovely. And when I research Mary in the metaphysical Bible dictionary that I like to refer to with names, because names, of course, we come to understand means the nature of the individual. Name and nature, those words are synonymous.
Yes.
When we talk about the name of something, we're talking about the nature of something. So Mary in the Christian philosophy, we know, is known as the mother of Jesus. And did you hear how I said that? Jesus.
You can't help it. You went back to the good old days.
Jesus. But anyway, it's that it's that mother consciousness. It's that mothering. And it says that Mary is a brooding principle, you know, receiving and accepting all into her, the bosom of her love. So Mary is mother metaphysically, and that consciousness is named in, as I said before, in every culture. Now, what it means to me, a personal story, a family story about my name. Here it goes. When back this past September, all of my family, and I come from a very large family, we all convened in Cleveland, Ohio, to celebrate my oldest sister's 100th birthday. And so this was quite an occasion. And she's absolutely lovely. She came into the room with all the guests, you know, just really kind of strutting, knowing that it was her day. She sat next to me, and there were sisters from, you know, out of town. My sister, the Reverend Annie Clark, she had come here from Missouri. My sister Dee, Dolores, who lives right there in Cleveland, was there, and all the nieces and nephews. But I noticed that Mamie never called my name. She's sitting right next to me, and we're talking, and she's very alert, very awake, but she never said my name. So I thought, listen, give her a break. She's 100 years old. We don't see each other all the time because I'm down here in Georgia. So maybe she's not really clear about who exactly I am. So she would say things to me, but never called my name. And then all of a sudden she leaned over to me and she said, "Now you know how you got your name, don't you?" And I thought, oh my goodness, she's remembering. She says, "Me," and she named another sister that's passed on, my sister Murthy. She says, "We named you. We told Mama that this is what we want to name the baby." Now, my sister is 17 years older than me. So they were big girls. And they came to Mama and they said, "We want you to name her Mary Louise after our dear friend who is a dancer, a singer. This woman, Mary Louise, who I was named after, traveled, whatever that organization that Bob Hope, probably nobody on this listening knows who Bob Hope is anymore. But anyway, in World War II, he had a troupe that entertained, and this woman traveled the world. She was very, very much before her time in the entertainment world. And I pay tribute to her in this moment as I remember her, Mary Louise Randolph. And because I was her namesake,
Mhm.
whenever she was traveling through town, she would always have me over and she would teach me things about what she was doing on show business with dancing and all of that. And I was a very shy child. Nobody believes that anymore. But being a very, very shy child, all I could do was admire her, but never emulate the things that she was doing at a time. But even now, and I don't know if I saw her maybe a dozen times in my lifetime, the last time probably being 50, 60 years ago for just a moment. I endear her. I carry her name. And I know that I carry some of her vibration because I looked up to her and admired her as a child. So there you go. Maybe a lot more than you wanted to know, but you ask a preacher or a minister to say something and they've got the floor for the minute, we're going to take the floor. So thanks for listening, and thanks for allowing me to reminisce over what my name means to me.
No, thank you. I mean, I always call when I reach out to guests, you're more than a guest. It's like I'm telling you, we're having a conversation. So it's not just throwing questions at you. And you gave me everything that I wanted and more because it your story, my story allows other people to travel down their own story and ask themselves, what does my name mean to me if
Right.
they've never thought about that?
Yep.
And when you talk about name and nature, you definitely an alignment with Mary Louise Randolph's nature because you have the same initials too. I mean, it's just amazing.
And all of that,
Yep. So I
true,
looked up, so wow, interesting.
true.
And Mary representing the mother, the bosom of love.
Yes.
You wear that name very well because that is you.
Uh,
You love just without trying, and you show up by calling people out and up to see themselves. And there's a way that I know, especially with my relationship with you, how you will call me out in places where I'm hiding and in a way that makes me want to come out after all. It's like, oh, she saw me. And we had a celebration for you a few months ago, and the main theme of that celebration was love. And for me, it was so enriching, so empowering to hear other people say that. You demonstrate love in such a powerful, gentle way that, everybody just wants to sit by you and get more and more and more. And so thank you. Thank you for showing up.
well, thank you for saying those words, Ade. And I know that there was a time in my life that it would embarrass me and make me, just really blush and all of that to think that those kind of compliments are being bestowed upon me. It's like, oh, I can't accept it. That's too much. And the reason why that's coming to mind, somebody said to me recently when certain things such as you've said to me were said, and they said, "Oh, you received that so well." Well, when I hear about love
Mhm.
and peace and harmony, I know that that's out picturing as a result of all that I've connected with for many years through prayer and meditation, knowing that, this presence, this life principle is love. So why wouldn't that show through me instead of being like, oh, no, it's not me? Life principle is peace.
Yes.
Life principle is, seeing that presence. When we say namaste, we're claiming that we see that presence in others. So now I can sit back and listen to it and say, yeah, yeah.
Yes, that's me.
Thank you. And of course, I'm not talking about my ego self that likes to
Right.
come out and play every now and then, but I'm
Yes,
talking about that spiritual essence that's the reality of us all.
that's right. That's right. And you do that very well. You allow spirit to reveal itself. So, speaking of allowing spirit to reveal itself in the work that you do, I joked earlier about you retiring, but retiring from full-time ministry, but you never retired. You just took ministry, you rebranded, repurposed ministry. you know, um,
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
I used to think I was busy, but I think you outdo me. So it's like, you know, I want to kind of, let's just check in. As so 2020, right? It's been a year that none of us probably envisioned, imagined, certainly didn't pray for. Because if we were to, let me say it this way, someone in their right mind will not pray for what is happening in 2020. But we don't understand that sometimes when we are praying, we're praying for what is not seen to be revealed so we can shine the light of truth on it. That in fact, 2020 is an answered prayer. And the quicker we can get that, the more we can sort of find our way through it. But it's definitely, I know for me and people, friends and family, that it's caused us to start looking at life differently and being different. So how has it been for you? What is different for you now in 2020 than previous years? And were there any surprises?
Oh yeah, well there were surprises. Yeah. I I'm glad to hear you say that in many ways 2020 is an answered prayer. As you said, you started out saying no one in their right mind would pray for all of this. And yet, those of us that have been praying affirmatively
Mhm.
for many, many years, and those of us that have made meditation a part of our practice, and those of us that have had a 2020 vision
Yes,
where we can see
yes,
clearly.
yes.
We pray affirmatively. We
Mhm.
don't go to prayer begging for for some God outside of ourselves to make something miraculously happen. We go to prayer affirming that which we've tapped into as the reality right now, the love and the peace and the harmony and the joy. And we say that this is the norm, and we say that there's only one life, and we're all individualizations of that one life. We're all light beings making up the whole, and we affirm, let it be on earth as it is in this state of consciousness. We're in a state of consciousness, those of
Yes.
us that meditate and pray affirmatively. Let us see that experience on earth. We don't want to just keep it in our head. It's not any longer okay to say that by and by in the sky. We let go of that long time ago when we start to embrace a new thought of the presence is here and now, and the only thing that blinds us is our perception of duality, of separation, and the such. So if we keep affirming, like so many of us have throughout the years, and long before I got on I like to say, well, I've been on the journey for, 50 years now. Well, that's nothing. That's nothing. When we start to look at the avatars throughout the ages, there's always been those ones. So we keep evolving. And now it's like spirit is hitting the fan once more. But all that other stuff has to break down.
Yes,
It
indeed.
has to break down, and it's not a pretty picture. Throughout the years, I've given a very simple, this is not anything deep and all that, but a simple example. Just cleaning out the kitchen cabinets, it's like, oh my goodness, everything looks really neat. All my glasses are over here. All my china dishes are over here. All my everyday dishes are here. And I've got this over here, my cups and blah, 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 blah. So it looks really good. But I know that some of those things have been sitting in that cabinet so long that they're dusty, and they need really washing up. So then I take everything out so I can wash down the cabinet so I can wash up and decide what am I going to keep and what am I going to let go. Do I need this any longer?
Mm-hmm.
When I take all that stuff out and put it on my kitchen table, it looks a mess.
That's right.
It looks a mess. Right now, all those false beliefs, all those erroneous concepts, all that sense of separation, you and me, all greater and lesser, and all of that is being seen. It's out there. It's out there. It looks like a mess. And so many are saying, I'm participating in putting it back together again. We're going to clean this stuff up. The time is here and the time is now. We've moved along. We've edged along. We've edged along. We've edged along. We've pushed evolution. Evolution is always unfolding. The greater yet to be, the greater yet to be, the greater yet to be. When I read about my ancestors, I think, oh my God, the sacrifices they made for the greater yet to be that we're experiencing, but we are knowing right now there's a greater yet to be for our people. And there's enough consciousness, I believe, this is my belief system, that there's enough of us believing this, that bam, that's why I use that distasteful. I told you to pull me. I told you to tap me when I kind of, my filter is.
No, you're good. You're good. You're home.
So therefore, there's more people committing that it's time for me to step up and do what is mine to do, because we're going to let these celestial thoughts be our experience. In Science of Mind, we talk about when we pray affirmatively, we expect a demonstration. In other words, we see this in our mind's eye. We embrace it. We embody it. We see the good that we ought to experience. Emma Curtis Hopkins, she says, there's good for me and I ought to have it. There's good for me, then I ought to have it. So if there's good in this heavenly realm of consciousness, we want to experience it on earth. And so we know that we affirm there's only one life. There's unity right here and right now. We want to experience that. I think I forgot what you asked me.
No, you didn't. You definitely asked. I was talking about what has changed for you since the previous year. Now, what is happening in 2020, and how what is happening is really an answered prayer. So
it's answered prayer. It's answered prayer. It's making me more aware of things that you said something right in the beginning, that not only, this isn't what you said, but this is what I heard. We're in the world and the world is in us. There's no separation. Something like that you said. I caught it when you said it. So it's there. So, okay, I lost my train of thought for a moment.
No worries. It'll come back. Watch. It's going to come. So the thing is, going back to being in the world, in the Bible talks about being in the world of not of the world, right? But we're in the world and the world is in us. That's a new thought. That's a new way of looking at it. And to use your cabinet analogy, there are people saying, yeah, let's take everything out and clean the glasses and clean everything because it's been here for too long. First of all, for me, I clean my glasses every time I take it out of the cabinet. I just got OCD like that. But there's some people said, yeah, it's time to really take this out. Let's see what we want to keep, what we want to get. I'm talking metaphorically, what we want to put back in the cabinet. And there are others people saying, why would you go ahead and just mess with that thing? You should have just left it the way it was. So we see people fighting for keeping it the way it is. Some people say there's absolutely no problem until you messed it up. The only problem started was when you decided to clean it. How do we find a sense of stillness in that challenging, opposing, polarized mindset where everybody has an opinion, and that's not a judgment, it's a fact. Everybody has an opinion.
It's a fact.
How do we find stillness in that? And sometimes when we feel like we're doing what's in our heart to do, we feel like is right. And sometimes it's people that love us, who care about us, people that we know, people we don't know, is going to judge us for what we're doing, criticize us for what we're doing. Like, why would you go mess with that? You just causing trouble, like they did with Martin Luther King. Don't come over here. You're just a troublemaker. How do we find stillness in that?
Finding stillness
Stillness.
is, yes, finding stillness is the key.
You find stillness to find stillness, right?
Well, what I want to say about that is if we get still enough, we're going to find peace. We're going to find our voice. If it's not there to speak our truth, regardless of what the status quo is saying or doing, and just being pleased with the way things are. Don't mess with it. But you got to believe that stillness is a possibility, because it's so easy to get distracted. Yes. Stillness is surrendering for a moment to what is. And there's got to be a commitment to stillness. You're asking, how do you find stillness? There's got to be a commitment to stillness, because it's easy to say, oh yeah, I want to get clarity, because when we get so much, when we're crystal clear, it doesn't matter too much about those that are saying we need to keep things the same. Nothing stays the same. But surrendering to stillness, so you can get the clarity to see what your next move is, to get guidance, is letting go of the distractions, the seeming oppositions. And sometimes that's a real challenge, because you're saying, yeah, I want this spiritual clarity and all, but if I turn away, I might miss something. It's kind of juicy. What's going on?
Yes.
A lot of drama.
A lot of drama. Moredrama.com.
Let me get my word in. If I get too still, maybe I don't have an opinion and all. But you have to go in for a while. Go take that inward journey. To coin Howard Thurman's words, the inward journey. And then you come out again, and you know what to do and what to say. And, well, I don't know. What my soul is saying right now is, we got to get clear what we're for and not what we're against. What are we for? So in the stillness, we can come up with that. And then when we rise up, however that looks, protest, writing a book, doing self-journaling, however that rises up, if I'm really, really, really clear about what I am for, then the energy of what seems to be the opposition starts to dissipate. Because where energy, where attention flows, that's where the energy goes. So if we're always energizing on what we don't want the status quo, and start really, really getting really clear, what are we marching for? What are we singing for? What are we doing this for? What are we doing it for? And I believe that's finding the stillness within ourselves that gives us those answers and gives us the strength and the courage and the energy to move forward, and letting everything else fall away, because things are going to fall. They're falling away. We've already talked about it. We've already talked about it. It's exposed. It's exposed. Those that didn't want to pay attention anymore, they were forced to pay attention.
Yes.
We're staying at home more and all, and so we're not pulled by so many distractions. So we stop on May 25 and say, "Oh my God, that's really happening. I'm bearing witness to something that, oh my goodness, I'm reading now that that's been going on. Oh my goodness." But there's been a lot of distractions. So how do we find stillness? Being willing to let go of the distractions for a while so we can see clearly.
Yes.
So we can see clearly and then make conscious decisions. What am I for? Maybe, it could sound like if saying what am I for is the same as saying what am I against? But there's a different energy. There's a different energy. There's a different energy.
Yes.
What am I for?
For is the vision, isn't it? For is the vision. Against is really the pain. Pain pushes until vision pulls.
We do a virtual high five.
Right. Or you can even go, you can go ahead. I won't mind if you go, girl. I won't mind. Ain't that the truth? Pain pushes until vision pulls. And the for is the vision.
The for is the vision.
Yes.
So when I decide I don't want to feel this way, it feels to be it doesn't feel good to be in emotional pain. And so much of the emotional pain, well, I don't like to be such an absolutist.
Absolutist. I like that.
I believe. Well, in some things I am, some things I am, there's no compromise. But until we're all on the same page, I like to say, this is what I believe at this time, that we're carrying emotional pain that we don't know where it even came from. And when our eyes start to open up, well, first of all, I don't want to carry that pain anymore. I don't want to carry that. I don't want things lodged in me that's operating, automatically. That I'm not focused at making decisions. Something, emotions of the past are making decisions for me. I'm acting out, and I don't know what I'm acting out about. So unpacking some of those emotions is when we start to get really clear.
Yes.
From whence we came, where we're going. So I think I was trying to say, okay, here I go. That it doesn't feel good to be carrying this. So I want to unload what does not feel good.
That's right.
And so if I keep pulling on, fighting, I find that doesn't feel good. I don't want to be misunderstood here when I'm saying fighting for a cause because you're for something I'm talking about using energy, fighting against something.
That's it.
All the time.
That's it. Yes. Yeah. And the fight can look like a stand. So the word itself, fight itself, could be like, well, fight. People say, I don't want to fight. I'm spiritual, but it could be a stand. You're standing for the vision. You're standing for a world that works for everyone. You're standing for a new way of being. You're standing for your heart, for your family, for your children. And in that standing, we say, no, enough of this. This is not happening. Sometimes we think spiritual principles means you just can, no, I'm just going to love them and let they do what they need to do. Hell flipping no. No, you speak up when you're called to speak up. Stand up when you're called to stand up. whatever we need to do. And I think sometimes, particularly when it comes to the issue of race, I feel like our lighter expression brothers and sisters, they sort of go into, well, we're all one anyway. And yeah. And then those of us who have a darker pigmentation, we're like, yes. And sometimes there's this push and pull where people are saying, I don't want to look. I'm just going to see the good because God is the good and we're all children of God. And then it looks like those of us on the darker pigmentation scale are like, you better flipping look because I've been suffering. So there's this sort of back and forth. However, in that force you're talking about, vision, because there's something about pain. This is just coming to me now. Pain pushes onto vision pulls, right? And what you're saying is recognizing the pain and having a vision of what we know can be, could be, what we want to see, as opposed to creating more pain that we're experiencing. Yeah. Go ahead.
No,
I'm just gonna
no, I'm basking in those words. Yeah. So it's and we have to just know exactly where we are in the moment. We talk a lot these days about well, just being aware. I'm trying to find the right words. I tell you that sometimes, it might take me a minute to pull those words back and all. But we talk a lot about, okay, white privilege and not being aware of what's right in front of the eyes. And that's a fact. Just a fact, nothing to argue about, nothing to just a fact. And I believe from my own experience, I'm getting in touch with so many things that I've half read through the years, being comfortable where I am, and when not with an attitude, don't change anything, but there's not even, if this is working in my life, I've overcome a little bit, I've overcome. It's a little better than what my parents' life was like. And their life was a little better, so, But now I'm opening up to things that I did not see fully, things that I've heard and have ignored. So as a Black woman in her 80s, I'm learning new things. I'm getting new insights. I'm more in touch with my ancestors. I was telling somebody recently, I've talked about that and throughout the years, but I'm talking about really getting in touch and feeling and sensing and how they've pushed the needle to this point, and a greater appreciation, and also other things that I didn't see. I think I was telling you that I started watching the movie Birth of a
Nation.
And actually, as I shared with you, that silent movie was shared with my group, people that I was socializing and hanging out with. I had around 10 to 15 people in my home. Let me see. This was in this was in the 70s, and someone had access to the film, and we're all, just interested in that type of thing. Segregation and being, and the way Blacks were treated and all of that. And I watched that movie, and I remember in that room, everybody was silent. It was intense because it was silent, and you had to pick up the innuendos, and you had to hear, and blah, 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 and it was intense as we were listening and watching that movie. And that was that. So fast forward 50 years, and I tell you that recently I watched it again And there was a certain point I had to turn it off to process what I had seen. Propaganda and the such, and that second half of that movie, in case anyone is interested in watching it, I had to process that because I saw that 50 years ago, but I didn't see it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have 2020 vision.
Right.
Today, there's a little song we used to sing in the religious science church many years ago, and it was "Open my eyes that I may see the fullness of life thou hast for me. Place in my hands the wonderful key that shall unlock and set me free." So, we're getting 2020 vision. And, it's not hindsight anymore. It's right here.
It's right here.
It's right here. It's right here. But to remain in the stillness, it's so important to keep pulling back, because all this is changing. All this, it's imminent, it's at hand, but we want to keep pulling back and receive divine guidance, direction, moving forward with the plan. We don't want to put hatred on top of hatred, do we?
Absolutely not. We just get more hatred for everybody involved, for everyone involved.
So how do we strategically move forward in the name and the vision of love and light and unity and love? I keep saying love, huh? And peace and harmony and love.
Well, I love how you add love to it, because that's the center, isn't it? As we understand it. And this thing about stillness, because what I like to do is not create a space, maybe shine the light of the integration or the centering, the intersection between the spirituality and humanity. And sometimes we think they're different. So in order to, let me say it differently. Stillness is not avoidance. Stillness is recognizing what is. And as you said earlier, I'm paraphrasing, where you just kind of just see what is. And if we can settle long enough, we can see something we didn't see before. We're not distracted. We, even the idea, as you were talking earlier, I was thinking, finding stillness. Do we really find stillness? Or we sit long enough for stillness to find us, to find a way through us? But we're distracted, angry, mad, and whatever, complaining and judging and all the stuff that we're doing. Stillness is like, hey, when you still enough, I'll come visit you. But right now, you too chaotic for me to show up. But it's like, I'm just realizing it's not even about finding stillness. It's making space for stillness, because it's not lost. It's here.
It's all around us.
Yes.
It's all around us. It's all around us. And, it's when we can tap into the ancient wisdom instead of resisting things because it comes in certain forms and what have you. In scripture, it says, I stand at the door and knock. But it never pushes itself in, all right? It's there and it's available. Spirit is always, nearer than breathing and closer than hands and feet, closer than the neck vein. That's how close it is all the time, and it's never separated from us. So it's there, ready to reveal itself in all of its magnificence, give us all the answers we're looking for. And it is stillness. We can include that with another name for God. Yes. The good, the omnipotent good, the all-powerful one, all right, is stillness. Be still. I've got something right now. I'm looking at it. Be still and know that I don't we? You asked about a name earlier on. Don't we all call ourselves I?
That's right. I am God. Yes.
Be still and know that I am. You know, the good omnipotent. There's good for me and I ought to have it. But I have to be still enough to identify that it's at hand. I wouldn't be able to even talk about it if it wasn't at hand. It's at hand right now, but we have to get still enough, long enough, and be willing to let go of all the distractions and all the juicy stuff that's being, I had to learn how to watch the news again, because I do watch news. I know a lot of metaphysical people say no, they don't. But I don't see how you know what's going on. How do you know who to vote for, what to do, those kind of things, if you don't know what's going on in the world and who's saying what and so forth and so on? You got to have some frame of reference when you go to the ballot box. So, newspapers or whatever. But it's like what I teach and what teachers of like mine teach is critical thinking. You have to cut through so much until you can hear the facts of life and know the difference between opinions. Now I had to learn how to do that all over again. Reverend Michael, I remember he did a sermon years ago and it was directed to the practitioners of the church. And he may not remember this himself, but the message title was, "No opinions, please." We've all got opinions, but I can't hear all that. Those are distractions. I got to get still enough that I can, the word distill, but I don't know if I'm using it properly, can be distilled. And I can differentiate and find the truth and the facts that I want to embrace, because truth is there. Truth is there.
Always.
But we got to be still, don't we?
Yes.
If we're hearing everybody's opinion. But we've got to be able to differentiate what's opinion. It's not putting anybody down. Everybody's got a right to their opinion, and got a right to say it. But we've got to be, in the words of Shakespeare, to thine own self be true. Because if you're still enough, if you practice stillness long enough, you start to resonate and vibrate with the truth. And when you hear the truth.
Yeah, I'm thinking of you read something in the book not last time, maybe a couple of times. You read a line, and I'm still letting that statement. What is it? Something about just as the father is reborn in the wife. What is it? No, just as the son? No, just as the father is reborn in the wife. Something like that. I can't remember. You probably remember, but
just as the Father is born through the wife as the Son. That's deep, isn't it?
It's deep. It might go over your head. If it did go over your head, you just talk to me later.
Very deep. I still have, now that was about 2 months ago when we discovered it together a day. And so I had flipped the book open and I'm reading that. And that was 2 months ago. The book is still open because just about every day I go to it and I read it. And I say to myself, just as well, it doesn't say father, it says the husband.
Husband, yes.
Just as the husband is reborn through the wife as the son. So it reminds, and then I was reading some poetry by my dear friend Nagialti Warren this morning, where she talked about 7 generations of women, and you realize the way she so artistically brought the poem about, you realize that it was the same woman being birthed at different times. So the mother is birthing the daughter, who births the daughter, who births, and it was through 7 generations until one came to one's self-identification. So if Nagyalti, if that's not what you meant, that's what I heard. And that's what the
Right.
beautiful thing of oneness. There's
Yeah.
only one. I am my ancestor. I am the future. You know, I'm the whole enchilada. The world is in.
There's I mean, I just feel the power of that statement, and I feel like if we jump on that, it would take us somewhere else.
Oh, I
But
know.
here's what I want to sort of, because some people may be hearing this and saying, well, that was great. It was all spiritual talk, but that doesn't really apply to what we're dealing with today. But and I think every expression is a reflection of consciousness. So if anybody ever tells me that, I know where they are. And at the same time, I don't want to make an assumption, not even from a judgmental perspective, that because of where we are focused, I know there are times when I'm in pain and I'm looking for a certain resolution, a resolve, a healing, or a thought, or somebody to give me something. When they give it to me, sometimes I'm like, that's not what I need. That's not what I need. You are not giving me what I want. I don't know it. I came to you to give it to me, and then you give it to me. It's not what I need.
I know.
But maybe later on, I'm like, oh, I see. Oh, because I thought it looks a certain kind of way. So what I want to do with that backstory is, when you talked about the birth of a nation, and we're talking also in a time where all the mess of white supremacy, and there's more, keeps coming up. How did you view the birth of a nation back then? And funny enough, when you were talking, I Googled it. I didn't know this. It apparently was called The Klansman.
That was the original book that it's based on.
Oh, it's a book. Okay, I didn't know. Okay.
You know, I haven't read the book or anything, but I
Yeah.
know that the movie was based on the novel, The Klansman.
Talk about right in your face. Okay, so how did you view it then, back in the day, and how you see it now? And what did you get now that you didn't catch before? And what do you think the difference was? Why is it that you saw what you saw this time, but you didn't see when you first saw it?
Let me just be with that just for a moment.
Sure.
I think then, if I'm just completely honest, and why wouldn't I be completely honest?
We don't want no discount truth now. We want the full price.
I wouldn't be surprised if I may have been in a mindset of, that's the way it is, and that's the way it was. So be it. You know, I've seen Gone with the Wind probably several times. You know, read it as a young woman, read it again. Now I understand that HBO is taking it off for now, and maybe we'll bring it back with some explanation about it, which is good. But I think I may have been in the mindset of the romantic aspect of it. You know, frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. Did you hear Clark Gable say that, girl?
That's why
They
I
said
love
that.
you.
I don't think that I captured what was going on as a country, as a nation, as a people, as a mindset. I looked at the romance. I laughed at some of our own discounted jokes. It was a mindset. Today, I see things differently. I see everything as a state of consciousness being revealed. I see it as pain and ignorance and oppression and superiority and greed and all the things that are negative. So when I see it in plain sight, it's like what I was talking about, people seeing a person's life being snuffed away from them in plain sight. Mm-hmm. Impacts you differently than if you just, something else happened, and what have you. So I think that when I saw it a month or so ago, it was like I saw the collective consciousness that was horrifying. Mm-hmm. And it gives more purpose to the movement forward. That Black Lives Matter.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. I want to ask you this question. I feel like I got 10,000 more questions. I don't know what they are, but I could just feel them, back it up. But I think this will be the last question. Having gone through the experience, okay, so transparency. I'm having this thing going inside of me, which I know you understand, but I just got to say it to let it out. This thing going out to, in the Western world, in UK or America, when you say someone is an elder, it's like, oh, no, I'm not an elder. Who would you be? I'm an elder. There's a sort of pushback that happens. And I see you as an elder. I see you as an elder who's grounded in truth, who uses her life experience to lift up, to inspire, to empower. So I find myself going back and forth. So I'm just going, now that I've said that, I can free myself as an elder and what you've gone through as a Black woman in America and where you are today teaching freedom song through spiritual principles and giving people back to themselves. And there are people who are somewhat new to this journey, 20 years, 30 years, and they may have read the story. They may have read the story. What do they call it? Revisionist history or something like that, change the story. And they're feeling like, oh my God, this is just happening. How is this even happening? But they don't necessarily have the reference point, a lived experience of what they're reading. What would you share with people, younger people in their 30s, 20s? Maybe they're being raised by parents, particularly, raised by white parents or Black parents. And maybe the parents are focusing more on the negative things and kind of feel like that's just the way it's going to be. What would you share with the young people who are saying, something in me is telling me it can be different? I don't know, but I feel that it doesn't have to be this way. What would you have to say to them?
Wow. When we have an inner feeling about things could be different, what's bubbling up for me right now, what goes along with that is a sense of responsibility. And we're going to take that word and break it down in its syllables and turn the syllables around and all that. The ability to respond. Find a way to practice how to respond to that inner urge that says something isn't right here, something needs to be changed. It's not necessarily so what my parents are saying, not put down, but just an awareness. And read. Your responsibility now is to respond to that urge by investigating in reading. I'm thinking about Khalil Gibran saying on his poem about children, your children are not your children. They come through you, but they belong to the universe. So I think I would say to that child, that young person, 30 years old or so, you know, people 70 are young to me now. Young whippersnappers.
So relative, right?
So anyway, respect your parents for bringing you to this point, and now you belong to the universe. Honor thy father and mother. You know, acknowledge them. Just acknowledge them. That goes into, you know, I know that the time is upon us, but that goes into a whole different thing. Honoring that father and mother consciousness within you. You know.
Yes, that's a whole show by itself.
That's another show. That's a book. I used to come home from studying, and I think, oh my goodness, I don't know if I want to read a book or write a book. It's a matter of expressing. Do I take it in or do I give it out? You know, it's a reciprocal thing. Yeah. So you're here as a child of the universe. You came through your parents, but you belong. You're an individualization of the whole. And when you sense there is change that needs to take place, in that moment, you have a responsibility to make that contribution. Maybe the universe is really telling you or answering the question, what is mine to do? So don't be afraid to go beyond the thoughts and the precepts and the concepts and the belief systems of the former generation. We're a forward-moving, ever-evolving universe. We're one with it.
We're one with it.
And you know, and Ade, I so agree with you that there may be people here, you know, listening to this and saying, you know, all that spiritual stuff is fine. It's got its place and all that, but we've got something. I'm not denying that. I'm not denying that, you know, we used to say treat, which is affirmative prayer, and move your feet. In the Bible, they put it this way: faith without works, just to know that, oh, all this good stuff is going on, and just sit there, you know, is like, yeah, you know, God is good and what have you. Faith without works, without some activity, without some action is the same as no faith at all. So I'm not denying the outside, but I'm saying let's get centered. That's where the energy and the intelligence and the wisdom and all that gives us how to move forward. We're moving forward. We're doing good, I think.
That's right. That's right. We are. So, like I said, there's so many questions just trying like, ask me. And like, but I managed to get another one. Okay, I'll take that last one. So there's a question that said, you got to ask. And it's like, oh yeah, that's a good question to ask. What do you think your legacy is?
Wow. Well, I'd like for the idea of authenticity to be part of my legacy. I sometimes tease because, you know, I can be a big, you know, I can do a lot of teasing, and I like to play. My kids sometimes, particularly my son, say, grow up, Mom. Because I want to play all the time.
Your son tells you to grow up.
But the thing about it is, sometimes I tell my students, you may not be getting this, but I'm getting mine.
And that's the truth. Oh God.
A perpetual journey, a perpetual journey that my whole purpose, my whole ministry has been about embracing and learning more fully how to live life authentically from a spiritual place. I don't know. I feel like I kind of stumbled on that a little bit, which is going to cause me to do some journaling and be really introspective. You know, what is my legacy? Love. You know, being true to myself as much as I can, giving away whatever I think I know, what I think I know. Sometimes I think I know something and, find out, oh no, there's another way of looking at that. And every now and then I'll say, and now I'm going to tell you something I really know, because there's a few basic things I really know. There's some things that I really do know, and I know that they don't change. But that's part of my spiritual life. They don't change no matter what it looks out here in the world. So I don't know. That was a hard one.
Yeah, I understand. I understand. And I think I'll try and answer another question that popped up based on what you just said, because I was going to ask, what would you say to people now? People who are thinking, I want to hold on, but it just looks like things are getting worse and worse. And what you said here could be an answer. You may have another answer. It's like, hold on to what you know to be true.
Very
right?
good. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. And I often tell students this, just know what you know. Sometimes a kid, I call them all kids, they're in the entry level class, the foundational class, and they want all the answers right then and right there. We all do. We want all the answers. But I say, you know what? If you grasp just one of the concepts and you embrace it and know that, just know what you know. Just know what you know. Absolutely. That serves you with all the other questions that you have. Whatever it is. Whatever it is. If it's solved in this area, it's solved in every area. Just know what you know. And and the word God maybe it's a word. God is a word. It's a word. The word has a nature of it behind it. And most people speaking about God, no matter what they call this presence and this power, will agree that we're talking about something that is omnipotent, all powerful. So therefore, if you embrace even one concept of what's really true, you've embraced the concept of God, and that one concept is all powerful. It's omniscient. It's all knowing. If each one of us is an individualization of the whole, whatever I know is one with the all knowing. So omniscience, what you know and know that you know, and sometimes we like to, make it real cutesy and catchy, and that's fine. That's fine. I love to play. When you know and know that you know that you know, that omniscience, that all knowing becomes all powerful.
Yes.
And then everybody will agree that however we describe this God presence, it's everywhere simultaneously. There's no absence of it anywhere. It's omnipresence. So if you know what you know and know that you know what you know, even about one thing, just one thing. Oprah used to ask on her show, what do you know for sure? If you know one thing for sure and it doesn't change, listen. that will solve. You use that as your premise, as your premise. Jesus, when he was trying to come to grips with who am I, and he had to tap into his faith about who I. Faith described as Peter. And when he came to the awareness, I am an individualization, son, of the living God. Of the living God. He said, on this rock, this premise, this foundation, that I'll build my consciousness. He said church, but I'm saying church consciousness, church. So it's upon this. If you catch one concept that you can say, this is true, it's always true, it does not change, it's true, it's true, it's true. I know, and I know that I know that I know that I know, then that will carry you, because then that becomes omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniscient.
I know, that's right. Let's see. Hold on. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. I got to do this. Look.
Wait a minute for this.
There you go, Reverend May. Can you see it?
Right.
It dropped the mic. I wouldn't even dare come back with another question after that. Because if I do, they'll be like, he don't know what he knows that he knows. Because why would you ask another question after that? She already done answer the question. Oh.
And your audience are thinking, oh my goodness. Well, this is how we carry on every time we have our conversation, our little private conversation.
Yes, indeed.
For anything. And you told me that it was okay for it to just flow like we're just talking to each other.
Indeed. And you said, when I asked you, what do you think your legacy is? You said you want authenticity to be part of it. The same Reverend Mary I talk to on the phone on Zoom, when we're talking, the same Reverend Mary I'm talking to here. And it's what I love is the fact that, Reverend Mary, she's been a minister for, and people start projecting whatever that means to them onto you. But you allow space for, you can be a reverend and enjoy life and crack a joke here and there. Not just crack a joke, period. Not even here and there. That it's a title. It's not just a title. It's a title, but the human, the spiritual being is still there. And that's the knowing all the time. We got to integrate both. So thank you for showing up as you are. Thank you for showing up fully. And thank you for all that you are and how you supported me. I just love you. I just love you. I'm so grateful that our path crossed. But then again, that's a no prayer, because we already made that agreement a long time ago. So there was nothing that was going to stop our path from crossing. But if there was anything that would have stopped it, I'm grateful that it didn't happen, because knowing you, being in your classes, had got me so clear about the intellect and the heart. And you always remind us, you give us the intellectual part of understanding what we're reading and what we're writing. And you say, but you got to remember, it's about the heart. And at the time when I took your class, I was thinking, maybe I need to just be intellectual about it, because people don't, I don't know how to talk from their heart. It looks weak and this and sensitive. Nobody wants to talk about that. And you just bring it right back. Like, yes, understand it, read it, be clear, but remember, it's about the heart. And that's what you mean to me. You represent the heart, and I'm so grateful for you. Thank you, Reverend Mary.
Thank you, Ade. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. Woo! If you want to find out more about Reverend Mary, that's right. Her website address is, and if you have any announcement, let me know. But website address is stillpointcsl.org. Stillpointcsl.org. Anything you want to let people know that you're doing that I'm not aware of?
Well, right now, what Stillpoint is doing, we're meeting about 4 times a year on Zoom for everybody's welcome. We call it the gathering. We had an awesome time on this past Saturday. You never know what's going to happen. We ended up doing haiku poetry to release our emotions and what have you. And it was something brilliant and inspiring for everyone in attendance. So we bring a springboard idea for us to explore our spirituality. And if you go on the website, I believe there's a place where you can leave your email address, and we'll be glad to include you on our listing so we can let you know when upcoming events are taking place. We teach accredited classes in the science of mind as well. And those usually start up in the fall and go all year. Right now, we're on a little hiatus, but we're scheduled to come back in the fall. But that's what we're teaching chapters. So we teach the principles in the context. They're universal principles, but in the context of the science of mind.
I love you, Reverend Mary. I know I said that before, but you could never say that enough. Thank you for being you.
Thank you, Ade. God bless you.
Yes, I receive it. Thank you very much. Life is good and is getting better. Finding stillness in challenging times. Well, sit your butt down long enough. Stillness will find you. It's already here. And, wherever you are, know that you are in the presence of the divine. You're in the presence of God. And if you don't know, all it takes is just sit long enough. You will. You will. The question and the answers in the same room. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Those of you who did the watch party, thank you very much. Thank you, Joe, my brother. It's so nice to see you. I am just moved by some of the things I see you doing, my brother. Just moved. And how you're embracing life in a new way. Thank you. Stella, thank you for being here. Stella said, thank you, Ade, and much love for hosting this meeting, and love you. Love you too. She said, love you, Reverend Mary. I know that's right. I love Reverend Mary 3 times 3 times 10. Kathy's here too, all the way from, no, you're not in Riverside. Where are you, Kathy? Neil Jace is here. Shoyinka is here. Some people are not in the chat room. Some people on YouTube. Thank you very much. What else to say? Not much. It's been said. Catherine, my dear sister, namaskar. Nice to see you. You're very welcome. I love you. I bless you. I appreciate you. And I thank God for you. And just know that the fact that you're alive today means that you are one of the transformative agents that are here to transform this planet. Love agents of hope and peace. And every day you have to redefine to yourself what love is, what hope is. Hope is a verb. If you're hopeful, demonstrate it. I love you. I'm out of here. Peace and blessings. And we're going to release the conversation again. Clarice, nice to see you, Clarice. Thank you for dropping a note, making your presence known. We're going to release the show with John Stringer. You are welcome here. This is an invitation to this place, whatever this place is for you, be it physical, be it spiritual, be it emotional, be it psychological. Welcome yourself back to yourself. And when you welcome yourself back to yourself and you sit there long enough, you will see the face of God as you. Life is good and it's getting better. Peace and blessings.
There is a space in my heart where I find the truth. I find me in you, a truth beyond what you may see now. But when we are one, we bring more good about. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, yeah. There is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love. Welcome to peace. Welcome to our community. Be who you are. Let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. I see with new eyes, allow and unfold, embrace and let go, trust the flow. There's a freedom in love when you follow your heart. Together we are stronger than we could ever be apart. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, yeah, there is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love. Welcome to peace. Welcome to our community. Be who you are. Let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. Breathe in and out. Slowly feel all that's around you. All that you feel. All that you know. Let it go. Welcome to love. Welcome to peace. Welcome to our community.